In the meantime, the president of the Nigerian Senate, Amhad Lawan, has asked the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress to abort the planned protest against the federal government's proposed removal of fuel subsidy, saying the move is, quote, totally unnecessary, end of quote. Lawan made the appeal on Monday when he met with the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, and the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timi Silva, over the planned removal of subsidy on petroleum products by the federal government. The government has said removing fuel subsidies in a high inflationary environment is unwise. Arise Business Analyst Chika Mbonu joins me now to discuss this highly inflammable topic. Good morning.
Morning.
This is highly inflammable. What do you make of this inflation reasoning behind not removing the subsidy? Is it political expediency? Is it a matter of economics?
Well,
or both?
Before I jump to the inflation thing, this is a very serious issue for our country. You know, it's a very decision point. And I'll just put a lot of things in the play there, you know, so that our viewers can have a better perspective of some things. Now, look, subsidies are not good for the economy, you know.
On the consumption side.
On the consumption side, especially in Nigeria, when it has to do with petroleum products, it's been once cycles of scandals and abuse. And that's what happens with subsidies. Even when the refineries start working, because of the disparity at the lifted price from the refinery and the price of the market, you find again you're just making money for the refinery operators, you know, the NNPC staff. So subsidies not good for the system, you know, we know that. I have said it several times in this program, you know, when I've been asked, and I said that I do not see anyhow that the current government will remove subsidy before the 2023 election. You know, I was cocksure about it. You know, I mean, there's no way they could have been able to do that unless they're no longer politicians. You know, so all the masquerading about, you know, subsidy and stuff like that, I need it's going to end somewhere.
Even with the new PIA?
Yeah. Now, the other picture now is a PIA, the Petroleum Industry Act.
Yes.
Now, everybody, NNPC, MD, the president, everybody have been going around talking about the fact that this is going to lead to quantum of investment into our economy. And so, look at it this way now, the policy somersaults. Now, in the downstream sector, so if you're an investor who has sat down and done your analysis based on the policies, the act, you know, of the food deregulation,
and the budget that says, subsidy from
July the 1st, where does that leave you? Now, so what are the other elements of the PIA? Are they sacrosanct? You know, so it means that if it's getting very hot, the government also drop. There's a tendency the government going to drop
the hot potato.
The hot potato, the other elements of the PIA. Because this is an initiative and a government act signed by the government. The same Senator Lawan was part of the people who passed it, and he celebrates it everywhere.
Just a few months ago.
He celebrates it everywhere when he was, recanting reciting the successes of the legislature.
PIA, yes.
Legislature. That was the first thing they listed. That after several decades of this, and they succeeded in passing it. Now the PIA is in a dustbin. You know, because if you can do this to the downstream sector, who says the upstream sector or any other provision in the PIA?
In the new act.
So all this issue of like the PIA is going to open up this heaven on earth for us on investment. I have issues with that.
So the fiscal structure, we're going back to the drawing board, as it were, technically speaking, with the finance minister and everyone to replan and refund the budget for 2021.
Mm-hmm.
What about this fiscal structure? What's the dislocation you expect?
Because see, based on the figures released by NNPC,
yes,
and about the quantum of consumption, I think it's 1.9 billion liters a month. That comes to whatever it is in a year, in a month, a day. At the end of the year, at the discount factor of the landed price of 403 and versus 165 pump price now, the subsidy comes about almost just a little below 5 trillion. So we have to find ways of funding that. No wonder OPEC has said that, you know, there are so many consequential effects. One of the consequential effects is what OPEC has said, that even though oil prices have been inching up, going up to almost hugging $90 per barrel, we're not getting, our country is not getting any benefit from that, because we turn around immediately and use it to bring in products into our country. And so his politics has taken leadership.
So the next administration will most likely inherit petrol subsidy.
I had thought that like when we're talking about in this program, I had said that within the first year of the second term of our president, was when it was the best time for him to have done that. Not too close to the election. Because once you get to the near the election, his party people are going to do recall that one of the first people that commended the reversal of policy was who? APC.
Was the sitting political party?
The APC, yeah. They sent a big press release and commending the government for this, loving the country and loving this thing and whatever. It's more politics than inflation and that you mentioned, my brother. It's more that. So
okay, so how should the labor unions and the civil society groups who've been angling for a process do this? They should pull back from the barricades.
Well, I mean, they plan to go on a protest on 27th, which is a Thursday.
This week.
This week. Now, there are fundamental issues there, which I was one of the people who supported the investment of money in rekitting our refineries. A lot of people opposed it. That's one of the conditions Labour has given.
Put on the table, yes.
And I visited the Dangote refinery over the weekend, and I saw what is there also. So Labour has said that the refineries locally must work
before subsidy goes.
Before subsidy goes.
So here is the central bank monetary policy folks deciding today on where interest rates should go. Would they be thinking about this petrol subsidy as part of the?
Yeah, because remember that has impact on foreign exchange. Because as I said, the effect dollars are getting up there. Even the bigger problem is that we're not even getting the benefit of the higher prices, because our production is hogging. We can't even meet our target. So I allocate target to 1.6 million barrels a day by OPEC, while doing about 1.1 billion barrels because of the fundamental issues of the economy. So the reversal thing is that we don't have enough money to do our infrastructure. We don't have enough money to meet our cash calls. Because of what? We are consuming all in subsidy.
Should Nigerians be happy with this? Should the central bank be happy that this subsidy has been stayed?
I do not think that they will be happy, because remember when last time this kind of thing happened, when oil prices were going up, central bank, was happy because of the fact that they had money to, accrete to the reserves, support the currency. But you see, it hasn't happened this time around. So because of what? The issue of subsidy. So it has a very limiting impact on our whole economy in every way. And as I said consistently, because of the gap in trust between the citizens of the country and the government, we've had the issue of this mistrust. What are they going to do with the subsidy they will save?
Chika Mbonu, Arise Business Analyst, thank you so much for this conversation. But it's not over. The conversation is not over yet.
Just beginning.
Have a great day.
Thank you.